Well, hello once again, all my vintage dirt bike loving YouTubers, and thanks once more for tuning in to Classic Dirt Bike TV. Now in this next featured video we're going classic and twin shock racing once more with the racing highlights from the Scottish Classic Motorcycle Racing Club's Round 7 event from Kirkness Farm in Fife on the 2nd of September 2018. Now this is part one of two videos I will be posting from this race event, so hopefully you'll enjoy this old school type of motorcycle scrambling. So we are going to begin with the first race of the day, which is the combined pre-68 up to and over 350cc class. And there is your clerk of the course just taking up position. And also heading trackside is our official photographer there, that's Andy Irvin. Now your official race starter for today will be Stuart Riddle. So as we just wait on Stuart getting the riders lined up for this combined pre-68 up to and over 350cc class. So we're just about good to go. And as the riders lead the line, it's a good start by Fergus Moody, number 122 there on the BSA. So as they make the turn and head down to the bottom section of the track, it looks like it's Fergus Moody, your race leader. Second is Mike Bell on that very quick BSA Gold Star. Third is Robert Kennedy on the Cotton Star Maker. As you can see, the weather a bit overcast today, but nevertheless the track is in superb condition for this kind of old style motocross scrambling. So we're looking to the top side of the racetrack to pick up our race leader. It's still number 122, Fergus Moody, on his quite nice BSA. As they head to the top section of the turn, its second is Lewis Bell, third is Mike Bell, number 98 is Liston Bell, number 54 is Robert Kennedy, that's Brian Aird and Colin Flockhart going through there. So here is your race leader for lap 1, it's Fergus Moody, second is Lewis Bell, third is Liston Bell. I think both these riders are riding their big Jawa machines in this particular race, so a good race developing between these first three riders. Fergus Moody first, second is number 9, that's Lewis Bell, and third is Liston Bell. Now this event of course being held at Kirkness Farm in Fife, not too far from the little village of Ballingry. So we're looking at our race leader, it's still Fergus Moody first, second is Lewis Bell, 98 is Liston Bell, but it looks like Lewis Bell has now taken the lead of this first race of the day. And so as they come towards on lap 2, it's number 9 Lewis Bell, second is Liston Bell, number 98. Third position now is Fergus Moody. As we pick up some of the other riders, number 71 going through, that's Brian Aird. Number 40 is Colin Flockhart, that's Clifford Hardesty going through, number 72, and number 51 of course is Ian Ridley. Number 91 coming towards us, that is Alistair Aird, one of the very talented Aird family. Alistair's riding his beautiful BSA at this race event here at Kirkness. And so as our race leader comes round to complete yet another lap, it's number 9 Lewis Bell on that big single cylinder Jawa machine. Lewis and his brother Liston have a variety of bikes to race at these events, and normally when they change machines it's quite difficult to tell who's actually riding which bike, but I think this is Lewis riding his big Jawa machine. Second position should still be Fergus Moody, with Liston Bell in third. Number 73 there on the BSA, that's Tom Forsyth, one of the Scottish Classic Motorcycle Club's top men and one of the organisers of these events. So here is your race leader. He's already coming round to lap lady rider, that's Helen Cahill, but it's the last lap flag for number 9, that's Lewis Bell, as he crosses the line to take that last lap flag. Liston Bell is now in second position, with Fergus Moody just going through there in third. Now we're just looking at your second place man, coming up the hill. That's Liston Bell. It looks like Liston's riding an old BSA in this particular race. Number 40 there, that's Colin Flockhart on his Shenny BSA. Colin used to ride a 1975 250 Husqvarna, but has recently changed to riding this beautiful Shenny BSA bike. And just behind Colin we have number 72, that's Clifford Hardesty, and once again 51 going through is Ian Ridley. So as we pick up our race leader, it looks like it's going to be number 98, Liston Bell, who is going to take the win in this first race of the day here at Kirkness, with brother Liston Bell in second. And we're looking at Jim Colligan there on the crutches, who has just had some remedial surgery after a motocross accident, but Jim's back on the mend now. So we move on to race 2. Now this of course is a pre-1975 class, so there's some very quick riders in this particular class. So as they leave the line, it's number 20 Stuart Roden, who we seem to have a follower. That's Derek Macaulay going down there on the little bull tackle, but as they come towards us, it's Stuart Roden on your left side, with Leslie Calderwood on that number 50 CCM. Lewis Bell is in there once again, this time of course riding his CCM bike. But this has the makings of a very good race between these front three, all of course riding different types of CCM racing machines. And it looks like it's Lewis Bell who is now sprung into the lead of this first pre-1975 class race. Lewis of course riding that CCM bike, and Stuart Roden also riding one of the Alan Clues machines, and looks like Les Calderwood is making his intentions known here as he challenges for that second position. So on lap 1 it's number 9 Lewis Bell, second is still Stuart Roden, number 23rd is Leslie Calderwood, who is looking to make a move on Stuart Roden to try and grab that second position. So as they cross the line and start lap 2, it's Lewis Bell, number 9, your race leader, second Stuart Roden, third is Leslie Calderwood riding that Joe Maxwell Engineering at 580 CCM bike. So Lewis Bell is still your race leader, but we're going to concentrate on this battle for second and third position between Stuart Roden and Les Calderwood. Les looks like he's absolutely determined to get that second position from Stuart Roden. Both these riders of course on CCM bikes, but not entirely the same of course. So there is your race leader, number 9 Lewis Bell. So we're looking for our second place rider, which is number 20. It's still Stuart Roden. Third is number 50, that's Leslie Calderwood, who is riding that 1974 Joe Maxwell Engineering replica CCM bike. But a good battle developing between these second and third placed riders. Les Calderwood going round the outside now and appears to have a slight advantage going into the turn. And so as the rest of the chasing pack making their way through, number 29 there, that's Derek Macaulay on the Bultaco Persang. Derek from Arbroath, of course. And just coming towards us, number 37, unable to identify that rider, but a very nice looking old TT 500 Yamaha. So we're back to the battle for second and third position, but it looks like Les Calderwood has now taken that second position from Stuart Roden. It looks like Les is already beginning to open up a slight gap to Stuart Roden, so the track positions are still Lewis Bell in first position, second number 50 Les Calderwood, third is number 20 there, that's Stuart Roden, and Stuart is looking to see if he can close that gap ever so slightly on that flying Les Calderwood CCM. Two very quick riders, these two. Stuart Roden there, number 20 on that beautifully turned out CCM bike. And so as it stands, we're looking at our race leader, number 9 Lewis Bell, who is coming round to begin his last and final lap in this pre-1975 class race. Some very ominous looking clouds in the background there, so hopefully the rain will stay away and we'll continue to have a dry race event here. So as Lewis Bell comes through to start his last and final lap, second position is still Leslie Calderwood, third is Stuart Roden, but Leslie's been riding absolutely superbly on this CCM bike as both him and Stuart Roden begin their last and final lap. But it certainly doesn't look like Stuart Roden's finished yet. There's still plenty time for Stuart to make a move on Les Calderwood, so this could be a nice battle on this last lap as we head towards the checkered flag. So Lewis Bell has almost crossed the finish line as we stand, but we are still looking at the second and third position battle between Les Calderwood number 50 and Stuart Roden number 20, but it looks like Les is going to be able to hang on to that second position as they come down the hill towards the start and finish line, but it's still Les Calderwood second with Stuart Roden in third, and it's a very good finish for these two CCM riders. Okay, next up we move on to the pre-1984 class, which of course used to be called the twin shock class, but we have a few monoshock old Yamaha bikes in there, so this class has been changed from the twin shock class to the pre-1984 class. So as they get the word to go, it's a good start. That looks like Jim Grieve. We've got a rider who's gone down there. That looks like Neil Glendinning on the Honda, but it looks like it's been a false start, and it looks like we're going to have a restart to this race. So we're ready to start this pre-1984 class once again. The 5-second board is up and the riders leave the line. It looks like a good start by David Loudon on that YZ490 Yamaha. Jim Grieve is in there on the twin shock Michael, but as they make the turn, it looks like it's the advantage for Jim Grieve there, number 15 on the 81 490 Michael. Second is David Loudon, number 75. Third is Neil Glendinning. Fourth is Andy Mallock on that 500 Armstrong. Number 27 going through there, that's Mike Doby on the Honda Red Rocket. So as we look to the top section of the track to pick up our race leader in this first pre-1984 class, it's number 15, Jim Grieve, who is your race leader. Second is David Loudon. Third is Neil Glendinning. Number 43 is still Andy Mallock on that big Armstrong. So there is your race leader going through. Neil Glendinning there on the big 480 Honda. So we have that very quick Honda of Neil Glendinning's up against David Loudon's 490 YZ Yamaha. So here is your race leader. It's number 15, Jim Grieve. Second is number 21, that's Neil Glendinning on the 480 Honda. Third is number 75, that's David Loudon on the YZ 490 Yamaha. John Porteous just going through on the Suzuki, and number 156, I'm unsure as to who the rider is, but it's a very nice looking old 250 Montesa. So currently, as it stands in this first pre-1984 class race of the day, it's still Jim Grieve on the Maiko, who is your race leader. Second is Neil Glendinning, number 21 on that 480 Honda machine. Two very quick riders on two extremely fast bikes. So it looks like Neil is beginning to make a move on Jim Grieve on the Maiko, but this could be a good battle developing here at the front. But it's still Jim Grieve, your race leader, from number 21, Neil Glendinning on that very quick 480 Honda bike. But the track conditions at this moment in time almost perfect for this kind of twin shock and classic racing. Just coming towards us there, number 27 is again Mike Doby on the CR250 Honda Red Rocket. But here is our battle for race position at the front. It's still number 15, Jim Grieve, trying to hold off Neil Glendinning on that 480 Honda. Neil just looking for any way to get past this man on the Maiko. Now remember, the pre-1984 class is 8 laps as opposed to 4 or 5 for the classic bike. So still plenty laps left to the finish flag. Number 43 is Andy Mallock on his 414 Montesa. So as we pick up our race leader once again, it's a new change of leader this time. It's number 21, it's Neil Glendinning who is your new race leader. Doesn't seem to be any sign of number 15, Jim Grieve. So I don't know if Jim's had any mechanical issues with his Maiko or if he's went off the racing track. But here is your new race leader, Neil Glendinning, number 21 on the CR480 Honda. And we're just looking to see who is our second placed position rider. There it will be. It'll be number 75. It'll be David Loudon. Number 151 is John Stokes. So your race leader is number 21, Neil Glendinning. Second is David Loudon on the YZ490 Yamaha. Third is John Stokes, who is also riding a very quick 480 Honda machine. So as we look at our second place position rider, it's number 75, David Loudon. This time, of course, riding his YZ490 Yamaha. David also has a very quick YZ465 that he sometimes uses, but it looks like he's opted to go for the big bike at this race event here at Kirkness. And so as it stands, it's still Neil Glendinning, your race leader. Second is this man here, number 75, David Loudon, and number 151, John Stokes, is currently in third position. Now there is the answer to what happened to our race leader earlier on, Jim Grieve. It looks like his old Michael has some kind of mechanical problem, but here is your race leader. It's number 21, Neil Glendinning, on that very quick 480 Honda bike. Just waiting on our second placed position rider, which should be David Loudon on that YZ 490 Yamaha. Our third place rider, number 151, there is John Stokes in third. Andy Malik also riding well there in fourth, with Gordon Forbes just going through there in fifth position. Now you can just see the black clouds beginning to gather over this Kirkness racetrack, so hopefully the sun will continue to keep shining and we won't see any rain for the rest of the day. And so here is your race leader as he comes round to take the checkered flag. It's going to be the first win of the day for number 21. That's Neil Glendinning. Second is going to be David Loudon on this YZ 490 Yamaha, and third position will go to John Stokes. Andy Malik is going to cross the line in fourth. Okay, we're back to the old classic bikes once again in the combined pre-68 up to and over 350cc class for their second race of the day. Remember, the race program changes after the lunch break when we go on to the age related races, but this is the second race for the pre-68 up to 350cc. So as they leave the line, it looks like a good start by Mike Bell on the BSA Gold Star this time round, as they all make their way down to the turn at the bottom section of the track. So as it stands, it looks like it's Mike Bell, your race leader. Second looks like Fergus Moody on the BSA, but it's Mike Bell with the early lead. Fergus Moody trying to go round the outside on his BSA. Liston Bell is third, Lewis Bell is fourth, Colin Flockhart is fifth, with Brian Aird in sixth. Now, as you can see, very dull and overcast for this round 7 event here at Kirkness, but as I mentioned earlier, thankfully thus far no rain. So here is your battle for the lead. It's number 122 Fergus Moody. Second is Lewis Bell, who now takes the lead of the second pre-1968 up to 350cc class race. Third position is Liston Bell, who is looking to make that move past Fergus Moody for that second position. Mike Bell is now in fourth position. Number 71 is Brian Aird. Colin Flockhart is number 40. At number 51 there, that's Ian Ridley with a very smoky BSA. Number 25 is Jake Whitelaw. Number 91 is Alistair Aird. Number 5 is Gordon Watson. And number 246 is Ian Ward. Just coming towards us is our lady rider. That's Helen Cahill, number 155 on the BSA. But as they come round to complete another lap, it's still Lewis Bell, number 9, your race leader, from his elder brother there, number 98. That's Liston Bell. Always good battles on the track when these two youngsters get together. They may be brothers, but when they're both on the track, there's absolutely no love lost when it comes to racing these old classic dirt bikes. The number 40 going through again is Colin Flockhart. Behind him is number 51, Ian Ridley. 72 is Clifford Hardesty. Coming towards is 73, that's Tom Forsyth. Number 25 is Jake Whitelaw. 91 is Alistair Aird. riding that very nice little BSA. But as we look to the far side of the track to pick up our front runners of the Bell brothers, it's still number 9 Lewis Bell, your race leader, from number 98 Liston Bell. Absolutely nothing between these two riders, so any one of these two could take this win in the second pre-1968 class race of the day. So it's currently number 9 Lewis Bell, second Liston Bell, who tries to go round the outside of his younger sibling, but absolutely nothing between these riders, and this could be a good finish right to the checkered flag. Number 40 once again, that's Colin Flockhart on that immaculate Shenny BSA. It's almost a shame to get dirt on this bike. It's such a beautiful looking machine, but nevertheless it's still good to see the bike racing on the track. So we're picking up our race leaders once again. It's still number 9 Lewis Bell, your race leader, from number 98 Liston Bell. So as both riders come through to take the last lap flag, this could be a do or die move for either of these riders before we get round to the checkered flag. But it's still number 9 Lewis Bell, second 98 Liston Bell, who once again tries to make that move at the turn, but it's still Lewis Bell, your race leader. Just coming towards us, number 18-9, that's the father of the two young Bell boys, that's Mike Bell, riding his beautiful BSA Gold Star, another cracking looking old British machine. So as we pick up our race leaders as they cross the checkered flag, it's going to be a win for number 9 Lewis Bell, with Liston Bell in a very fine second position. Okay, next up we're on to race 2 of the pre-1975 class. Remember, we had a fantastic race between this man here, Stuart Roden, number 20, and Leslie Calderwood in that first race, and it looks like Stuart's taken the whole shot as they all head down into turn 2, but as it stands, it's Stuart Roden, your race leader. Second looks like it's Derek McCauley on the Bultaco. Third is Lewis Bell on the CCM, who appears to have some kind of mechanical issue, but as they head up the hill, it's Stuart Roden first, second Derek McCauley, third is Les Calderwood, as they make their way to the far side of the racetrack. But it looks like Lewis Bell is going to have a retirement in this second race, a problem with his Alan Clues CCM bike. And so as our pre-1975 riders come round to complete lap 1, your race leader is number 20 Stuart Roden, second is number 29, that's Derek McCauley on that flying Spanish Bultaco. Third is Leslie Calderwood, and just trying to go round the outside is number 54, that's Robert Kennedy, also riding a 1975 CCM. But it's still number 20, that's Stuart Roden, your race leader in the second pre-1975 class race of the day. It looks like Derek McCauley is still in there on that 250 Bultaco machine. So your race leader is number 20 Stuart Roden as he comes round to complete yet another lap. Second is still Derek McCauley. Third is now Robert Kennedy, who's looking to make moves on McCauley's 250 Bultaco Persang. So second place man now looks like it's going to be Robert Kennedy on that very quick 1975 CCM bike. Leslie Calderwood currently sitting in 4th position. So as it stands, it's still number 20 Stuart Roden who has led this pre-1975 class race right from the start gate. Second is number 54 Robert Kennedy. Third, and doing absolutely superbly on that little 250 Persang, is Derek Macaulay. Derek is racing this little 250 among these big 500 plus 4-stroke machines, so Derek is absolutely riding superbly on that little Spanish 250 Bultaco. But here is your race leader. It's Stuart Roden, number 20. Second is Robert Kennedy, who appears to be closing in on the race leader. Third is Derek Macaulay. Fourth is still Leslie Calderwood. But this could turn into be a fine race at the front here between Stuart Roden and number 54 Robert Kennedy, riding of course his father's 1975 CCM bike. So as they head to the far side of the track, it's Stuart Roden with a narrow margin over number 54 Robert Kennedy. So as our race leaders come round to start the last and final lap of the second pre-1975 class race, it's still Stuart Roden with Robert Kennedy right on his back wheel. So this could be a fantastic run to the checkered flag between these two front runners, but it's still Stuart Roden with the early advantage over Robert Kennedy. Third is still Derek Macaulay on the 250 Bultaco. Fourth is still Leslie Calderwood, also riding an Alan Clues CCM bike. But it's still Stuart Roden first, second Robert Kennedy, but this could be a good run to the finish line between these front two CCM riders. So with less than half a lap to go in this pre-1975 class race, it's Stuart Roden who leads Robert Kennedy. So it's two CCMs at the front of this particular race, but can Stuart Roden hold on to that win as they come round to take the checkered flag? It looks like it's going to be a win for number 20 Stuart Roden, but a very fine run by Robert Kennedy on that 1975 CCM in second position, with Derek Macaulay in third and Leslie Calderwood just crossing the line now in fourth. Now that brings us on to the second pre-1984 class race of the day. Remember Neil Glendinning, second from the left there, won that first race in fine style on his 480 Honda. So we're just waiting to get the OK from the clerk of the course to say everything's good to go. That's Stuart Riddle getting the thumbs up there. So as they leave the line, it's another good start by number 151 John Stokes on the Honda as they all make the turn and head down into turn 2. It looks like number 15, that's Jim Grieve, seems to have sorted out his micro problems from that earlier first race, and Jim Grieve is trying to keep off John Stokes there, who now takes the lead on that big Honda. Third place is Neil Glendinning. Fourth is David Loudon, and it looks like Andy Malloch is in there on the big Armstrong. So as we pick up our race leaders on the start of lap 1, it looks like it's John Stokes, your race leader, from number 15 Jim Grieve. Neil Glendinning is in there in third position, but it's John Stokes first, second is Jim Grieve, third is Neil Glendinning, fourth is David Loudon, and in fifth position it's Andy Malloch, who I apologise, he's not riding his Armstrong but is back out once again on his Montesa 414 Capra. But here is your race leader. It's now number 15 Jim Grieve who leads number 151, that's John Stokes. Third is Neil Glendinning, also riding a 480, but Jim Grieve beginning to pull away from these front two racers in this second pre-1984 class race of the day. So as it stands at the front of the pack, it's still number 15, Jim Grieve, who leads. Number 21, that's Neil Glendinning on the 480 Honda, who slips down the inside to take the lead in this pre-1984 class race 2. Third position is still John Stokes, number 15175 is David Loudon there on the 490 Yamaha. But conditions here at Kirkness still absolutely superb for this type of classic and twin shock racing. So as he begins to stretch his lead, it's number 21 Neil Glendinning on the 480 Honda. Second is Jim Grieve on the Myco. Third is John Stokes, also riding a Honda. Now remember, 8 laps for the pre-1984 class, which is significantly more than the old classic bikes, but as we look to our race leader, it's still Neil Glendinning who leads. Jim Grieve in second position. Third is still John Stokes, but some very quick riders in this pre-1984 class race. So it's still Ryan Glendinning first. Second is this man, number 15, Jim Grieve. Third is number 151, John Stokes. Fourth is number 75, David Loudon. Fifth is Andy Malik, number 43. Some very nice landscape surrounding this hilltop racetrack here at Kirkness Farm near Ballingry in Fife. And we're looking at the battle for third and fourth position between number 75 David Loudon on the Yamaha and John Stokes on the big Honda. So as they come towards us, it looks like John Stokes is trying to make a move on David Loudon for track position, but as it stands, it's still this man here, number 21 Neil Glendinning, your race leader. Second should still be Jim Grieve on the Myco as Neil crosses the finish line to complete another lap. Jim Grieve going through, number 15 in second. David Loudon is third. John Stokes is still fourth. Andy Mallock is still fifth. As we look at number 151, that's John Stokes on the 480 Honda bike. So as we look at our race leader as he comes round to begin yet another lap, it's still Neil Glendinning, number 21 on that 480 Honda. Neil going very well on this big Honda machine. Now these pre-1984 class riders will get, of course, 6 races here at this round 7 event at Kirkness, so a good bit of racing to come between these twin shock riders. So it's still Neil Glendinning, your race leader. Second is Jim Grieve. Third is still David Loudon, and fourth position is still John Stokes. Now this particular Kirkness event, of course, is round 7 of the 10 round championship that we had in 2018. So we had some fantastic racing and some very good venues throughout the 2018 championship. But here is your race leader. It's still number 21 Neil Glendinning, riding absolutely superb on that big Honda as he crosses the line to take his last and final lap. Number 15 Jim Grieve is still in second position. David Loudon is still third. John Stokes is fourth, with Andy Mallock doing really well on that 414 at Montesa. So as we check out some of the very nice Kirkness landscape to pick up our race leader, it's still Neil Glendinning who is your race leader, and we're looking at, of course, the third placed rider. That's David Loudon on his YZ490 Yamaha. David, of course, a very experienced rider, but we're looking at our race leader as he comes round to take the checkered flag for the second win of the day. It's another win for Neil Glendinning on the big 480 Honda. Second should be Jim Grieve, number 15. Third should be David Loudon on the Yamaha, with John Stokes finishing in fourth. Okay, we have our final race for the combined pre-68 up to and over 350cc class. This is the last of their races before the lunch break. So as they head into the turn, it looks like Lewis Bell has made the early turn and taken the whole shot as they all head down into turn 2. So it's Lewis Bell who once again leads his brother Liston Bell. Third position is Fergus Moody. Brian Aird is doing well there in fourth spot in this opening lap of the third pre-1968 class race of the day. So as the riders head round on lap 1, we look to the far side of the track to pick up our race leaders. It's still number 9, Lewis Bell, who leads at number 98. Liston Bell in second position. Fergus Moody is in there in third, but it looks like Liston is going round the outside to take the lead of this third pre-1968 class race. There's some very good battles between these two riders once they take to the track, but it's Liston Bell, your race leader. Second is number 9, Lewis Bell. Third is Fergus Moody. Fourth is Brian Aird. Fifth is Mike Bell. Sixth is Colin Flockhart. Number 51 is Ian Ridley. 72 is Clifford Hardesty. 25 is Jake Whitelaw. Number 73 is Tom Forsyth. So as our riders begin lap 2, it's Liston Bell, your race leader, from number 9, Lewis Bell. Lewis snaking and sliding that big machine in this very tight and twisty Kirkness racetrack. So it's Liston Bell, your race leader. Number 9, Lewis Bell in second position. I'm not entirely sure which bike Lewis is riding at this particular moment in time, but it's sometimes hard for me to tell at this juncture, but often change from BSAs to Jawas and Tribsas, so it's a bit of a lottery for me if I say that he's riding a BSA when he's actually riding something else. But here is Mike Bell, number 89, who's definitely riding his favoured BSA Gold Star machine, a lovely old British classic. So on lap 3, it's still number 98, Liston Bell, your race leader of this third pre-1968 class race of the day. Second is number 9, Lewis Bell. Lewis seems to be closing up on his brother in this third race, so we could hopefully get a good finish between these two before the checkered flag. As you can see, the weather is still improving as the day goes on, and thankfully none of the rain materialised from those dark and dismal clouds that we saw earlier. But here is a battle for the lead of this race as the front two runners come round to start their last and final lap. It was Liston Bell, your race leader, but it looks like Lewis has now taken that pole position from his elder brother. So this last lap is now about to start, so it could be a battle to the checkered flag between these two brothers, and you can be rest assured that Liston will not want to settle for second place to his younger brother, so it could be a good battle to the finish line. And as we wait for our race leaders to come round to complete their last and final lap, we're looking at number 40. That's Colin Flockhart on that immaculate Sherry BSA bike. Colin used to ride a 250 Husqvarna, but sold that particular machine and bought this beautiful Sherry British-made BSA bike. So as our front runners come round to take the checkered flag in this last pre-68 class race of the day, it's going to be a win for number 9, Lewis Bell, with his older brother Liston in second. Okay, moving right along, we are now up to the third pre-1975 class race of the day. Now, we had some good racing from these guys earlier on with Stuart Roden and Les Calderwood, and we're currently looking at some of the riders lined up here. Brian Hamilton is on the near side here, Les Calderwood of course in the orange top, Stuart Roden on that number 20 CCM. So as our race starter, Stuart Riddle gets ready to let the bikes go. It's another good start by Stuart Roden on the CCM. Jim Allison is in there in second position as they make the turn and head down into turn 2. It looks like it's Stuart Roden once again. Derek McCauley is up there again in that little 250 Bultaco Persei. Third looks like Robert Kennedy with Leslie Calderwood in fourth. Tommy Anderson is in there on that 250 Husqvarna. So it looks like most of the riders have made it through the first 2 or 3 turns okay as they head to the far side of the racetrack. So as they all head up the hill, it looks like it's Derek McCauley on that little 250 Bultaco. Now you have to remember that Derek is racing that little Spanish 250 up against these big 500 plus CCM bikes, so Derek McCauley doing absolutely superbly at the front here. Second is Stuart Roden. Third looks like it's now going to be Lewis Bell. Les Calderwood going down the inside, so Les Calderwood has moved up into third position, but Lewis Bell looks like he's going to steal that position back, but Les Calderwood has moved through now into second position. So another good run by Les on that 1974 Joe Maxwell CCM. But you have to tip your hat to this man at the front, Derek McCauley, who is still managing to keep these big 500cc bikes behind him, and Derek of course riding that little 250 Spanish Bultaco, and it's still Derek McCauley, your race leader. Second now is Lewis Bell. Third is Les Calderwood. Fourth is Stuart Roden. A good battle developing between these CCM riders. Robert Kennedy is now moved up and taken that place from Stuart Roden, who immediately steals it back. So a very good race developing between this first half a dozen riders in this third pre-1975 class race. But Derek McCauley has now moved down to second position on the Bultaco. Third is Les Calderwood. Fourth is Stuart Roden. Fifth is Robert Kennedy. So it's Lewis Bell, your race leader. Second is Derek McCauley. Third, Les Calderwood. Fourth, it's this man here, number 20, Stuart Roden. And just behind Stuart is number 54. That once again is Robert Kennedy, who goes up the inside, riding, of course, his father's 1975 CCM. And this is not a replica bike. This bike that Robert's riding is a pure bike from 1975, so Robert doing superbly as he chases Leslie Calderwood for that track position. But here is your race leader. It's number 9, Lewis Bell on the CCM. Lewis, of course, didn't finish that last pre-1975 race due to some kind of issue with his CCM bike, but as you can see, whatever it was, he has it now sorted, so he's in current pole position. Second is still Derek McCauley on that 250 Bultaco. Third is Leslie Calderwood here, number 50 on that Joe Maxwell replica 1974 CCM. Robert Kennedy is sitting in 4th now, with Stuart Roden in 5th. And so as the riders make their way on their last and final lap of this pre-1975 class race, it's still Lewis Bell, your race leader. Second is Derek McCauley. Third is Leslie Calderwood in the orange top. But there is your race leader and winner. It's number 9, Lewis Bell. Second is going to be Derek McCauley on the Bultaco, and third position is going to go to Les Calderwood, with Robert Kennedy in 4th. So that brings us to our last and final race for this part 1 video. This is the pre-1984 class for their 3rd race of the day. Don't forget there will be more racing from this Kirkness event coming up in part 2, so make sure that you check that out. So as the riders leave the line, it looks like a nice good start again by John Stokes on the 480 Honda as they all head down into turn 2. So looks like David Loudon is trying to get the early lead here, but Neil Glendinning has pounced and put that Honda into the lead of this 3rd pre-1984 class race. Now don't forget, in part 2 of this event we will be focusing on the age related races, which means that the riders will be classed in their age groups, and it's nothing to do with the type of bike they race, and they will be racing according to their age at the time. So here is your race leader. It's 21, Neil Glendinning. Second, David Loudon. Third, John Stokes. Fourth, Andy Mallock. Coming through there is Gordon Forbes, number 19. 27 is Mike Dobie. So a good collection of riders for this final pre-1984 class race before the lunch break. But as you can see, the weather is still absolutely perfect for this kind of vintage and twin shock racing, as we pick up our race leader at the top of the track. That's Neil Glendinning on the 480 Honda. Second is David Loudon on the 490 Yamaha bike. But Neil Glendinning has been riding absolutely superb here so far this weekend, so this could be another race win if Neil can keep that bike in between the ropes. So here is your race leader. It's Neil Glendinning. First, 75 is David Loudon. Third is John Stokes, number 151. Andy Mallock is still racing his very quick Montesa there, number 43. Number 19 is Gordon Forbes from Argyllshire in the west of Scotland. So there is a lot more racing to come from this round 7 event here at Kirkness, so look out for the posting on my YouTube channel coming very soon. So here is your race leader, Neil Glendinning, riding, I think it's a 1983 480 Honda. As you can see, this bike very quick, but these tight and twisty tracks don't really suit these big open class machines, but nevertheless Neil is doing superbly on his particular bike. 75 is David Loudon in second position, another very talented club rider. David races in this class and has done for many years. Number 27, Mike Doby. And so it looks like Neil Glendinning is going to be unchallenged in this third pre-1984 class race. David Loudon still not close enough to make any sort of challenge on Neil for that first place position, but nevertheless Neil still riding superbly on that big Honda. Second is still David Loudon, but a little bit further back, but nevertheless still in there in second position. As we pick up our race leader once again, Neil Glendinning. Number 63 there, that's unfortunately a rider that I'm unfamiliar with, so apologies for not being able to name that particular rider, but just in front of him there at number 27 and still doing very well is Mike Doby on his CR250 Honda Red Rocket. So as we pick up our race leader once again as he starts his last and final lap of this third pre-1984 class race, it looks like it's going to be an easy run to the checkered flag for number 21, Neil Glendinning. Second is still David Loudon at number 75 there on the very quick YZ Yamaha. Number 19 is Gordon Forbes from the beautiful west coast of Scotland in Argyllshire. Gordon often likes to take his old Myco out and give it a blast at these classic events. So I do hope you've enjoyed the racing from this part 1 of the Kirkness Round 7 event, and of course look out for more racing action from this particular round coming up in part 2.